Something translucent, like it's a wonderful life, or still might be. And there you are, leading you ahead of yourself, some glum future tense part of you, some submissed, surrendered shell of your current self, like an apparition of all hope, more not many days hence. To everybody else unseen, while you hold your hand between, and drift somehow from scene to scene, the heavy heaves, the deep duress, the cardboard tearing dirty mess, and the fiber fume of inferno, as you trudge through the many work areas of hell, and the perdition that shall soon become, and as, without ever the decibel of speech, without dire plea or even any entreat, you demonstrate to yourself the ignobility of suicide by apathy, and by whatever begging one might surmise in the eyes of dead despondents. So that's till lunch. During as we enjoyed, she and I, my new associate, our unpaid break together, we sat across from each other on one of the two long picnic-style tables of the little break lounge, and maintained some light conversation while she consumed her meal that she brought to work with her, some of which she shared with me, for that I had nothing. And but for that it's also Coat Warehouse Company policy, as it is too in many high schools, that employees are not permitted to leave the premises during mandatory lunch break, though it is unpaid and off the clock. Perhaps lest the starved human heart be tempted by something akin to the brighter happenstance of heliocoherent hormone, and emboldened reckless longing to rather tough it out in the gutter. Yet unto so, though, that maybe the poor girl merely felt obligated to be magnanimous with her almuerza. In fact, mis amigas at the inn, they invited my presence at their lunch table and would even become offended with me, irritable and impatient between our translations, when I should try to be polite but not eat, insomuch that I don't regularly eat lunch. Yet it was just a comfort thing, and while they were happy to host man's presence among them, still nobody wants to be watched as they eat. And so the maids, they were insistent to share, and I was grateful to engage, eventually buying a weekly lunch for the group rather than bringing in something every day to share, as did and do Las Latinas, which charming, convenient character is cultural, and more so endearing, and they were sweet to have included me. The young Latina at the coat warehouse, though, she didn't necessarily invite our shared company during lunch either. That is, unmistakably. But instead, while she retrieved her lunch out of the refrigerator, I sat down, then so did she across from me. Yet again, perhaps having felt obligated in that, at first, it was only her and I within the little break room, and so, as we had also already established some rapport, both Friday and then again with greeting and brief exchanges earlier and at opportune throughout, too, that Monday morning, she may yet so easily have reasoned the situation more awkward, so should she separate herself, and so Leslie sat across. Wherefore, as it seemed just as likely she was mostly being polite, maybe hesitant to so soon convey departure, and not impart or invite, but allow negative tension unnecessarily with a new coworker, and so perhaps too whereby prevent the regret for new workplace as yet not needlessly territorial, or else, like the maid at the inn, was simply avoiding the discomfort of eating in front of someone, and especially a virtual stranger no less, than it was likely otherwise that she implied deeper meaning, or sought parallel to more familiar acquaintance by offering. I accepted the granola bar for friendly gesture, but I regarded it as just that, a polite and friendly gesture, and attached no more necessary significance to it than that, deliberately feigning preoccupation with my phone, that she might eat her lunch undisturbed, and we proceeded to pass the half-hour break, sharing mostly presents, yet not without too some light discourse throughout as well. During one of these little exchanges, however, my beautiful new coworker, she casually dropped it in there, as young ladies are skillful to do, and would not, except that they're willing to be obliged, that she had as yet had no ride home, but that she would likely walk, as she lived not much farther, if at all, beyond a mile in town away. Upon this opportunity, of course, I seized, and after but short delay, dispassionately designated my aid entirely at her disposal, suggesting too that she might appreciate the services of a chauffeur and the kind courtesy of a ride home. Unto the proposition of which assistance she exhibited neither hesitation nor any reservation, but promptly accepted the solution to her transportation dilemma that I proposed. So I drove her home Monday, and culminating which occasion too, I inquired whether she might welcome a ride into work in the morning tomorrow the next day as well. To which offer too she conceded convenience, and we made plans for the following morning. Then the next day, Tuesday, I pick her up, we walk in together. Again, through lunch we sat together. This time again I sit down deliberately first, again affording her choice to sit, if just one seat from me diagonal, but so to establish some distance or separation between us, if she so desired. Yet again, deliberately, she put herself across from me, and we sat again face to face. And again, at the end of our shift, I drove her home. After we walked out of the building together, her ride home this time implied, and without my needing to offer. And again, like on Monday, as our time drew to an end on Tuesday, while pulling into her parents' driveway, I offered, she accepted, and we made plans before saying our goodbye, until that we should see each other again the following morning, Wednesday, when I would pick her up. I wasn't fooled, though. Not for a moment did I trust this happy premise. Not because I'm a decade or more her elder, at least as I inferred from the mention of her recently resumed studies at Wavanzi with the start of the new fall semester, for we've not otherwise discussed age at all yet between us, and I look nowhere near yet my years. But I've retained my ruddy, youthful luster unto this very awful day, and, except that my full beard line, if let too long untrimmed, should betray me of younger guesstimations, I easily still pass for young 20s. And I once had sisters, and one of them, at her wedding, just after I had completed unto my now void diploma, my 5th and final year of college, just to give you an idea, she introduced me to her new father-in-law, who, upon our acquaintance, shortly thereabout, in no way snide or condescending, but having legitimately misjudged my age, asked me, unto his immediate embarrassment, following my response thereafter, into what level of high school I would be entering with the fall, whereas the days of a tree are the days of my people. But more so still, for that I'm exceptionally handsome, and I'm instant arousal, sexuality incarnate, and walking wetness below the waist of any female within watch, or in range of my aromatic Adonis. And, as far as I'm concerned, she and I should share some more intimate company, and she should soon start to dance without our pants, before ever she should concern herself with such arbitrary things as age between beautiful and consenting adults. Then I'm certainly not going to speak on it, which repercussion could only cause her reconsider that we should make us, while we rumpus, nor will I waste much time looking her in the mouth, before surging her with my strong stallion, and riding her beige beauty like a pony, because otherwise, while perhaps I augmented my hopes unto her unassuming point of view, from where I was sitting, after our farewell on Tuesday, having shared a combined hour, in the entirety of our minutes on break, and her granting me her escort, allowing me her transport, on both of our first 2 days, and more of the same, and plans to repeat made for Wednesday also, if things should persist at such a pace, except I extrapolate, logically we would be having sex that weekend. Until, of course, the 3rd day.